All right, so good morning. So last night at 11 p.m., officers were dispatched to the 12,000 block of Moose Road in reference to an armed suicide threat. So what happened in the incident? We got a 53-year-old white female who, according to her husband, has been suffering from some neurological issues. Started getting worse, I guess, about a year ago after a car crash, and most recently it's gotten a little progressively worse. So tonight he was inside the house, heard his car running out in the garage, goes out to check on it. When he opens the door to the garage, he sees her sitting in the driver's seat. The car's running with the door shut. She's got like a towel or something over her head. So he opens the door to ventilate it, and that kind of moves her. So she realizes what's going on. She closes the door. He opens it. They do this a couple times. And then at one point, he says she pulls up a firearm. So he goes back into the house. When he goes inside, he calls 911 for officers to come, tells them she's armed and threatening suicide, it sounds like. During that time, she walked out the front of the house and went across the street, it looks like, to a bench. So when the officers arrived, they got together and they were going up to approach and make contact. And she saw him coming. The husband said, "Hey, she's over here. I'm speaking with her." She came out with the gun, raised it, and actually exchanged gunfire with the officers. So she fired 3 or 4 times. They're still verifying that back at the scene. And then there were 6 involved officers that all returned fire. So they immediately, when they were able to get her safely into custody, they did that and rendered aid. JFRD arrived and they took her to a local hospital where, last I heard, she is in unstable condition at this time. She will be facing multiple charges against the officers, obviously. And the SAO is on scene conducting their independent investigation. There are 6 involved officers, so I can give you their names and ID numbers when you guys are ready. So first officer is Brendan Johns. ID is 79635. Second is Anthony Marotti. It's Mariotti. His ID is 86343. Next officer is Zachary Poole, Poole, ID 83950. Next is Jordan Gay, 83462. Then there's Daniel Veres, Veres, 67908. Then Maurice Brown, 79037. All the officers involved, this was their first officer involved shooting, and it is our 3rd officer involved shooting for the year for JSO. And with that, I can take any questions if you guys have them.
What are the conditions of the officers that were involved in the shooting?
So no injuries that I'm aware of. They're all obviously shaken up. Had a gunfight, obviously. Weren't expecting that, but yeah, so there are no injuries that I'm aware of.
Did all 6 officers then open fire on the woman?
They returned fire and exchanged fire, and all 6 were involved in the gunfire, yes.
Her 3 or 4 shots that she was able to get off, did they strike anything, residents, neighbors' homes?
So that's all being looked at. It looks like one of the vehicles where the officers were kind of hunched down behind was hit by one of her rounds, and they're still looking now. I mean, it's dark, so we out here most of the night into the morning to see what else was hit.
The husband that was near her when they arrived?
He was back at the house. She had walked across the street while he was inside calling 911. So when he came out, he was voicing to them saying, "Hey, she's here. I'm talking to her." And that's where she came out from the opposite side of the road, walking toward the officers with the gun. So he wasn't near the gunfire, if that's what you're asking.
The initial of her being in the car, was, do you believe that to be part of her attempted suicide, like whether it be carbon monoxide or anything like that?
So that's what it appeared to be. She was in there with the door shut. The car was running. So when he went out, that's why he ventilated it by opening the door. I mean, that monoxide was building up in the garage. So he went out there and ventilated it for that purpose. Like I said, they went back and forth. She'd close the door. He'd open it. And after a couple of times, that's where he said she raised the gun. So he went back inside.
I know that you said that she's in unstable condition, but did you know where she had injuries?
Multiple shots that I know of in the torso and legs from what I'm aware of. That's all I know. All right. Thank y'all.